Hello, and thanks for clicking on this next part of the solving systems by elimination method. So let's try one that's a little tougher. We know it's tougher because at the top it says challenge problem. All right, so here we go. I want you to solve this system of equations with elimination. Negative 9x plus y equals 29, and negative 4x plus 2y equals 2. So remember, the goal behind elimination is to add the column, either the x column or the y column, and get 0 after you're done adding it, because the two numbers that you're adding add up to 0. Now the problem is, if we take negative 9x and add negative 4x, we don't get 0. If we add y and 2y, we don't get 0. Now remember, there's a 1 in front of this y here, we just don't see it, so we can put it there. But again, we still don't get 0. So we have to do something first so that we can add up the two equations and get 0. So remember what I told you in the last set of slides was the fact that you are allowed to multiply one or both of the equations here by any number you wish, okay, in an attempt to make one of the variables opposites so that they add up to 0. All right, so what you're going to do is, it doesn't matter which variable you choose to eliminate. You can choose to eliminate x, or you could choose to eliminate y. It's up to you. Sometimes one variable is easier than the other. Maybe you see which variable is easier to eliminate right now, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. So we have a negative 9x and a negative 4x. So what I would need to do is I would need to multiply one or both of those equations by some number or different numbers that would give me a 0. The same number in opposite signs. That doesn't look too easy. All right, but if I go to the y column here, I have a positive 1 and a positive 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 2. So you got to do a little thinking ahead, right, on this. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 2, because what that's going to do is it's going to make, when I multiply the 1 by the negative 2, it's going to give me a negative 2y. And then when I take the negative 2y and add the 2y that's underneath, I'll get 0. So the deal is this. You want to multiply the top equation by negative 2. You can, but you have to multiply all of these by negative 2. All right, so we got negative 9x times negative 2. That's a positive 18x. Positive 1y times negative 2 is negative 2y. That's good. And then 29 times negative 2 is negative 58. Underneath, we're going to keep the bottom equation the same. We're not going to change it at all, because we're just going to rewrite it. Because now when we add these two equations together, you can see what happens. The y coordinate, the negative 2y plus 2y, they'll be 0. So they will eliminate each other. Okay? Now, we still have to add the other two columns. 18x plus negative 4x is 14x. And then negative 58 plus 2 is negative 56. And now we are ready to solve this for x. If we divide both sides by 14, we get x equals negative 4. So that's our x coordinate of the solution. Our x coordinate is negative 4. Now we need the y coordinate to go with it. So we're going to take the x equals negative 4. We're going to plug it into one of these two equations up here. Doesn't matter which one. It's up to you. I'm going to plug it into the bottom one, just because the numbers are a little smaller. That's really the only reason I'm thinking. It might be easier, but you can plug it into the top one too. So I'm going to take negative 4. I'm going to plug it in for x. I have negative 4 there already. Times negative 4 plus 2y equals 2. That gives me 16 plus 2y equals 2. Subtract 16 on each side. We have 2y equals negative 14. And then divide both sides by 2. And we have y equals negative 7. So my y coordinate is negative 7. So my solution is the point, negative 4 for x, negative 7 for y. Okay, there is our first solution there. All right, so we're going to try this again. Let's take a look at the next one, which is number 9, in order as usual. Okay, here we go. we have a negative 10x minus 6y equals negative 10, and a negative 2x plus 7y equals negative 2. Again, my goal is to eliminate one of these two variables. So, if I add the columns right now, negative 10x plus negative 2x, that's not 0. Negative 6y plus 7y, that's not 0 either. So we're going to have to multiply one or both of the equations by something so that we can get 0 for one of these variables. Okay, so it's your choice as to whether you eliminate x or y. In this case, there is one that's easier, and that would be to eliminate x. Because I see a negative 10x in the top equation, a negative 2x in the bottom equation, and I know that if I multiply the bottom equation by negative 5, and again, I got to multiply all these by negative 5, and again, you got to do some, like I said, you got to do some thinking ahead. When you do negative 5 times negative 2x, that gives you a positive 10x, and when you add the negative 10x with the positive 10x you're going to get 0. So the top equation this time, I am not going to change. I'm going to leave it the same. The bottom equation, I'm going to multiply everything by negative 5. Negative 2x times negative 5 is 10x. 7y times negative 5 is negative 35y. And negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Now, if you look, the x column, negative 10x and a positive 10x, they're going to equal 0 when I add these two. That's exactly what I wanted, so they disappear. Negative 6y plus negative 35y is negative 41y, and then negative 10 plus 10 is 0. So we can solve this equation for y just by dividing both sides by negative 41, and we get y equals 0. So the first part of our coordinate point, the y comes out to be 0. So now we need to solve this for x as well. We got to get the x coordinate. We know y equals 0. We can take 0, plug it into either one of the equations, your choice. I'm going to plug it into the bottom one. So I'm going to rewrite the bottom equation here. And I'm going to take y equals 0, and I'm going to substitute it in up here. So we have negative 2x plus 7 times 0 equals negative 2. Negative 2x. 7 times 0 is 0. It's not going to be there in a minute. So negative 2x equals negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. And you have x equals 1. So the other half of our solution is x equals 1, which means that these two lines intersect at the point 1, 0. Okay? All right, let's try one more. Okay, here's our last one, number 8. We have negative 12x plus 4y equals negative 8. And 6x minus 8y equals 16. Again, I want to try to solve this for x or I want to solve this by elimination. So again, if I try to add the columns together, negative 12x plus 6x is not 0. Negative 4y plus 8y is not 0. So I'm going to have to multiply one or both of the equations by something to make a 0. So again, it's your choice as to which variable you eliminate. In this case, there really is no easier variable to eliminate because both of them can be eliminated pretty easily depending on how you choose to multiply. So I'm going to eliminate y, and I'm going to eliminate y. Let's see, I have a 4y up here and negative 8y down here, and I want them to add up to 0. So I would have to multiply the top equation by 2, right? If I multiply that top equation by positive 2, when I multiply it by the 4y, it's going to give me 8y. And then 8y plus negative 8y, that will be 0. Okay, so everybody in the top equation is going to get multiplied by 2. I have negative 24x plus 8y equals negative 16. And on the bottom equation, I have 6x minus 8y equals 16. And now I'm going to add these two equations together because 8y minus 8y is 0. So I have negative 24x plus 6x, that's negative 18x. And negative 16 plus 16 is 0. I divide both sides by negative 18 to get x alone. And x is 0. So my x-coordinate comes out to be 0. Now I can get the y-coordinate as well by taking 0 for x and plugging it in to either one of the equations. I'm going to plug it into the top equation this time. Try something different. And there's my top equation. I'm going to take 0 for x. I'm going to substitute it in. Negative 12 times 0 plus 4y equals negative 8. So 0 plus 4y equals negative 8. 4y equals negative 8. And I divide both sides by 4. And I have y equals negative 2. So my solution is x is 0, y is negative 2. Okay, there's my solution to that one. Now, what you could have done, which I didn't do, what you could have done is maybe you said, hey, let me rewrite it here real quick. You might have said back at the beginning, hey, I don't want to eliminate y, I want to eliminate x. Well, you could have eliminated x pretty easily. You would have multiplied the bottom equation by 2, right? When you multiplied the bottom equation by 2, you would get 6x times 2 is positive 12x, and then you do a negative 12x plus 12x, and that would be 0. That's okay. You can do it that way. That absolutely will work. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So it doesn't matter which variable you eliminate first, just that when you add the two equations together, you get 0. That's what's important. Well, you get 0 for one of the variables. That's what's most important. Okay? That is your next set of problems.